Welcome back to day 3 of the 5 days of freelance. Today is all about proposals, and these documents are critical because as a freelancer, you're going to be pitching a lot of projects. The better your proposals look and the better that they demonstrate what you can offer your client, the more likely you are to land those deals. So let's talk about what goes into a proposal. Personally, I have 5 elements that go in every single proposal I turn out. These include the project overview, the scope of work and deliverables section, key dates, responsibilities, and payment. Now, a proposal is not a contract, but you should still be pretty detailed so that clients know what they're signing off on and there's no confusion when it gets time to go to that contract. Now, here's a snapshot of my proposal template. Granted, it changes a little bit depending on the project that I'm pitching, but this one in particular was for a series of eLearning level 2 storyboards, and so that's a project that I know many of you might be taking on. But I want to say that this is my proposal template now, and it looks pretty fancy, but my original proposal template was really just a Google Doc with some headers, and that worked great. I've started to level up. I've had more time to consider my systems, and so now this is where I'm at. As you're building your proposal template today, you can think about whether you're ready for all the bells and whistles, or if you just want to create that, easy to build document for now. Okay, so the first part, let's talk about the overview. Now, not everybody I know creates these overviews, but I like to give my clients an executive summary, which includes a little bit about the client, their problem, and how it's impacting their business. I also include the project goals, and this includes things like the solution and the metrics for success. I include this on every project proposal, but as I said, not everybody does the long form. And so you can decide whether you want to have an overview in your project proposal. So if you're working alongside this video, you can go ahead and make that decision right now. Your next section is going to be your scope of work and deliverables. These are similar, but not exactly the same thing. So your deliverables is exactly what needs to be produced, while your scope of work might include sort of what it takes to make the product. I'm going to give the caveat that I put every detail in my scope of work and deliverables section, but not all of my freelance friends do. And so you can decide whether you want the client to know what goes into the product or if you just want to give them the big deliverables. Then you're going to put down the milestones. What are the big checkpoints? So I break my proposals into phases, which might include things like this is the needs analysis phase, this is the curriculum mapping phase, this is the video development phase. You'll have to decide what's appropriate for your project. Then we talk about pacing. So how quickly or slowly will these items be completed? Sometimes this is going to depend on you. Sometimes this will depend on your client. But having an idea of how quickly everything will be done, whether it's weeks or months, is important. Here's something that everybody should have in their proposal, and that is key dates. Find a way to state very clearly the start date of your project, any payment milestone dates along the way. So, for example, if you're getting paid a deposit at the start, a deposit after all of the version 1 scripts are written, and a deposit at the end, you want to know that. And of course, you're going to want the end date, right? So when does the project start? When does the project end? Are there any key dates in between? Moving along, we also have a responsibilities section. Now, this could be something that you elaborate in on the contract, but in the proposal, I always like to outline what it is my work will include versus what the client will need to provide me to successfully do that task. This might include things like having an SME who's available, or providing access to their learning management system. You also want to outline your review cycle policy. Do you have 1 review, 2 reviews? Is there a certain percentage of change allowed per draft? Those are all things you want to outline very clearly. And finally, the fun part, which is the payment. So you want to outline the pricing for your client, whether that's hourly, project-based, or a combination. You want to outline your payment schedule. You might put things like due by as well, so that if your project gets kicked out 3 months because your client's SME is unavailable, you will still get paid for the milestone that's passed. And you want to talk about how to pay. So do you take credit card? Do you take bank payments? Do you use a payment processor like PayPal or Stripe? Do you only take a physical check? Let them know so they're prepared. Now there's 3 things I recommend that you do to increase your chances of getting that proposal signed off. First, present and pitch your solution. Don't just send off your document and then disappear. If you really want that contract, let them know, hey, let's set a meeting for X date to talk about it. That's the next part. Dates. Set a deadline. Don't let that proposal be open-ended. Your client might decide in 2 years from now they want to come back to you for that pricing, and by then you should probably have raised your rates. So I like to set a 60-day deadline, but you can choose what works for you. And finally, you want to get sign-off. It's not a concrete document. It is not a contract, but I like my clients to sign off on the proposal to tell me they understood what it is they were agreeing to. Now, my pal Christy Tucker of eLearning, you might have seen her wonderful blog. She's offered this great pro tip. So not only should you include your scope of work, but you should list the out-of-scope tasks. Whatever is not included in that scope of work but could be an upsell is an opportunity. It shows them what they're missing. So thank you, Christy, for that pro tip. Again, you can check out Christy Tucker's blog. We will post the link below. And you can always find Christy in the eLearning Freelancer Bootcamp hosted by Idle Courses. And we'll make sure that link goes down below as well.